Welcome back to Policy Bazaar. I'm Arjun Bhagat, and with me is Yashish Thaya. Yashish, you were talking about NAV guaranteed products. Now, can you elaborate on the four that you had listed?
So the four we had spoken about were ICICI Pinnacle Super, HDFC SL Crest, Bajaj Allianz Max Advantage, and SBI Smart Performer. I think the idea of mentioning these four is these are four most searched ones. But also we can look at what are the features one should look at, what are the things one should look at, because as we compare these, you would see what one is looking at. So if we look at the IRR expected, as long as the market does deliver about 10%, they are fairly similar for all of them. The HDFC one has a slightly lower IRR. Now, however, if we look at what are the guarantees available, they all guarantee the 7-year highest NAV. So as explained earlier, however, ICICI and HDFC guarantee 15 rupee, which is essentially if you are investing 1 lakh rupees every year, you will get back at least 1.5 lakhs, out of that back. So if you invested 10 lakhs over 10 years, you will at least get back 15 lakh rupees. That's an important one. Now the ICICI plan actually offers you 10% more than the highest NAV. The SBI plan offers you 5% more than the highest NAV. So they're not just the NAV, they are slightly higher than the NAV, they guarantee a little more. In terms of performance, Bajaj and ICICI have been very, very similar. All of these plans have got premium, small premium allocation charges. They do have fund management charges and they do have policy administration charges. As I mentioned earlier, these are charges you should look at very carefully because they start building up. Most of these are working around the 2 to 3% policy administration charges. However, the SBI plan works at a fixed 720 rupees per year policy administration charge. So if you're investing a larger amount, the SBI plan starts to become a little more effective because your the cutting would be fixed. However, in the same breath, if you're investing a smaller amount, the SBI plan may not be as effective. So it depends on how much you're going to invest. Now, most of these plans are 10-year plans. Some of them get you to pay throughout the period, and while some of them expect you to pay only up to 5 years. So the HDFC one expects you to pay only up to 5 years. In terms of you should try to take the lowest possible life insurance cover through these, because the life insurance cover through these are not very cheap. They're actually quite expensive. So for example, the Bajaj plan is charging about 2.47 per thousand of life cover. The ICICI
so one can actually take that separately.
You can take that from a term plan. So try to keep it at the minimum. Don't try to go, and that the advisor will also not try to get you to the higher amount because he doesn't make any money out of that. So that's not his interest either. But you have to. These are the factors you should be aware of. Typically, you will get, as long as the market's giving 10% return, you will. Okay, so let me put it this way: you will get about 2.5 to 3% less than the market. Whatever the market returns. So if the market is going to return 17%, you'll get 14. If the market returns 10%, you'll get 7%. So if the market gives you 3%, you'll get 0. Or you'll get certain guarantees because as the ICS, as the plans guarantee up to a certain return, as I mentioned in the different ones. But you will get about 3% below the market return in most of these plans.
What about market risk? You talked about that. You talked about that there is this inherent market risk of NAV guaranteed plans.
Sure. So highest NAV guaranteed plans are not a significant part of the market yet. But suppose they became a significant part of the stock market. The moment the stock market crash starts, these would multiply that multifold, because essentially everybody would sell, all the fund managers would sell immediately and buy into fixed assets rather than hold, or buy into fixed return products rather than hold. And what that would mean is it would aggravate the crash in the market. So if these became like, let's say 20% of the market, then they would become a very significant risk. As long as they're 2-3% of the market, it's okay. That can be managed.
Right, Yashish, now we've got a little bit of time to take a few questions from our viewers. So we've got Neha Manocha, who writes from Pune that her husband has purchased a Med Smart Tulip in 2009 with a maturity age being 99 years. She says that now we are unable to weigh any benefit of the policy. We would like to know if there is any option available for one, reducing the maturity age of the policy, switching to a policy from the same vendor or a different vendor with a lesser maturity value? And would there be any benefit if I get out of the policy once I complete the lock-in period of 5 years?
I think once you complete the lock-in period, one can get out of the policy if you're not seeing any benefit in it. It is not possible to reduce this particular policy. It is also not possible to switch it into another policy. So it's obviously I can say, you know, one should have thought before buying, and it's a long-term investment, as you say, 99 years. So when you're buying a product of that sort, one should really go into the detail. One has to realize that the insurance is a category you'll probably spend the second highest amount of money ever. You spend more on insurance than your car. So it's something that you know, one needs to think about. After house is the second highest investment activity in the country. So one's got to be very serious about it. But once you do get stuck, then you do get stuck.
Thanks, Yashish. But that's all on this show. Our next show will be on investment plans, which last for a whole lifetime. So if you have any queries, do write to us at ask.policybazaar.com or on Facebook at PolicyBazaar India, or you can tweet us on PolicyBazaar_in. And we'll see you next time on Policy Bazaar. Goodbye.